Here's another stewardess story from my flying days that I wanted to share because it's really stayed with me over the years. I grew up in the 1950s and we used to have to jump under our wooden desk when the sirens would go off because we were practicing you, how to save ourselves in case we got nuked by the Russians. There was always that threat of nuclear war back in the 50s and the 60s. The Cold War hadn't ended when I started flying in 1967. But one day I'm on the airplane and I just started flying. It was 1967. And the agent came on board to tell me that I was going to have a group of very important people on board in first class. I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Yes, they are the Russian equivalent to our cabinet members in government, very high up, right next to the president of Russia." I said, "Oh, interesting." So they were flying from Kennedy Airport, JFK, to Los Angeles. And they were all excited because they were going to go to Disney World. Disney World was huge back in the 60s. A lot of people wanted to go there from all over the world. Well, they were on this flight heading off to Disney World. And all of a sudden I realized these men were supposed to be my mortal enemies because of all the programming I'd gotten in the 50s about how they were going to nuke us. They were absolutely delightful, charming, pleasant, fun. They didn't speak English. They had an interpreter. But it really opened my eyes and made me realize people want to enjoy each other. They want to get along. They don't want to be thinking about nuking and killing. So what is this insanity that we perpetuate on planet Earth? Isn't it time to wake up and go to that place where there are only solutions and we have unconditional love and we're non-judgmental and we don't feel threatened and we make it a win-win situation? One of my favorite teachers, Jose Silva, because I taught people, I still do, if you want to be coached on how to flip the switch and go into that level of consciousness where you can solve problems, I teach people how to do that. He was a visionary and he could see if more people learn to go to that altered state, that level of consciousness that you need to go within in order to experience, because it's the alpha level. You can't think a negative thought when you're there. And if you're a natural alpha thinker, as opposed to a natural beta thinker, which is when your five senses are activated and you're using your left side of your brain to critically think and make decisions, when you're using your intuition, your spiritual sense, your positive approach to life, you have a much better experience. So that's why these visionaries are predicting that ultimately that's where we're going to be living, from that level of consciousness where there are no problems, only solutions.